Subconscious mind, mastery, 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 mastery.
Welcome to the Subconscious Mind Mastery Podcast. I'm Thomas Miller in downtown Greenville, South Carolina. This is a downtown renovation that has been tremendously successful, probably one of the most successful in the entire United States. People just love coming down here. It is transformation in demonstration. Well, one of the most transformative things that happened in my own life is narrating all of Fred Dodson's books to audiobook. And Fred and I happen to be here on the same day. So we're going to sit down by the waterfall in downtown Greenville and have a wonderful conversation. Boy, the water's down a lot since I was here last. I guess it was probably spring or something.
We've had very little rain.
Yeah.
Keeping your age in mind, there's park benches here.
Speak for yourself. Keeping your age in mind. I'm the one with the orange truck.
That's true. That is true. That you could be a teenager with that.
Well, we don't do this often, but it's fun when we do. Welcome to the fun. Sorry, wrong podcast. Well, we don't do this often, but it's, we got to keep up with them. Welcome to the Subconscious Mind Mastery Podcast. Thomas Miller and Fred Dodson happened to land in the same town on the same day, so we decided to do this. We've been wanting to for a while, and we're having a nice afternoon in the summer in the South. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for making this possible. So one of the things we have several things to talk about, but the book that you just finished and I finished that's out is called People Who Forget Who They Are, which is a very unique topic for Fred Dodson. However, there's a really cool little consciousness theme that rolls all the way through the book. So, and it's also, there's a different writing style, so we'll talk about that, but how did you end up on that topic?
The book is written for me, Thomas. I always wanted to know why. Why are there people who don't know who they are? Why are there people wandering the streets in amnesia? Why are there people showing up at places they don't belong and they don't know how they got there? Why are there people waking up knowing a new language, which happens remarkably often? And to find the answers to these questions, I had to write the book for myself, not necessarily for my audience, but for me. So this is one book that is just for me. It's a gift to me. I want to know why. To me, there's too much stuff happening and people are not asking questions. It's like in the Matrix, they're just wandering the streets and they're not asking why. Why this, why that? I'm a curious fella, Thomas. A lot of my readers are also curious, and they were meant to feel that there's somebody else out there trying to figure it out.
Another unique thing about this book is that you wrote it in, I mentioned to you, a true crime kind of storytelling genre. Did you enjoy writing that way?
Very much so. So I decided to have the sections that describe the people sound like a true crime show. You actually nailed it. That's what I was thinking of. Okay,
yeah,
true crime narrative, and then my commentary to each case, which was written more in my style. The consciousness researcher commenting on each case. Yes, you nailed it.
I hope you do more like that.
Oh yeah?
Well, stories are always good.
Okay.
And then that narrative I thought was great. I love the way that it just worked. I don't know. You'll have to get it. You'll have to listen to it or read it. It worked. It just worked. So what kind of feedback have you had? The audiobook's been out just a little bit, but the paperback and the Kindle have been out for a while.
Surprisingly little. I'd like to know what it did to people. I have a lot of 5-star ratings on the audiobook, a lot, but without comment. And I'd like to know, why did you rate it 5 stars? What did it do to you? And did it address stuff you have always been wondering about? Missing people, mysterious disappearances. It's all in there. Anything that is happening in our midst that we haven't explained. It's all in there regarding people, missing children, you know. So far not much, but I hope that this podcast animates people to tell me how they felt about it. Because this is actually one of my favorite books. It's not written for an audience, it's written for me to find out, and I did find out. I got answers for myself through writing the book. So this is one of the first times I write a book where I don't have the answers, which is why I wrote it. Normally you write a book because you have the answers. I did not have the answers, and I still don't have many answers, but I got some, and that is deeply satisfying, that you can sit down, research a book, and then get answers.
There's a consciousness theme that runs through this book, which of course that's his area. But when you explored the consciousness theme, what did you determine that? Why did you determine that, and what came from it?
You can't solve these problems without consciousness. The book reveals the weakness of mainstream modern society. They're trying to solve things that are impossible to solve if you don't have consciousness, if you don't know about the transferring of spirit from one body to another. People don't know so much. They don't know that one spirit can occupy another body. I could, if I were advanced and criminal at the same time, I could force, in my opinion, another spirit out of their body. And that's fascinating. And that actually solves a lot of the strange cases that we read about. People don't know about multiple identity, multiple entities. They don't know about possession, spirit possession, spirits that can occupy a body and turn the person into a completely different person, speak a new language. People don't know about government experimentation on people, which solves some of the crimes or some of the cases I wrote about. And all of this is consciousness based. And if you don't have that, then you sound like the law enforcement officers and the mainstream journalists that I wrote about, who have no clue what is going on. Why do car tracks suddenly stop in the middle of the desert and the person disappeared? And they puzzle over it and scratch their heads for weeks and weeks, and they don't understand it. How is that possible? Well, you tell me, or read the book.
You know, another one that I thought was really interesting were the people who went under various forms of anesthesia, and then things changed while they were detached from their consciousness, from their own awareness. What's up with that?
Well, in anesthesia, you're not in your body. You leave the body. Where's the person? There is no person. And some people report going under anesthesia and actually traveling outside their body. In the meantime, it seems like there's other people trying to get into your body. So you'll want to protect yourself during anesthesia, full body anesthesia, through intentions, through prayer. It's a good idea. That's what's up with that. Thomas Miller.
You, any other kinds of protections that you would recommend? I know a lot of people listening right now probably are facing a surgery, or a loved one is facing a surgery. What else would you recommend?
Get to know the anesthesiologist. I said it correctly. Get to know your anesthesiologist before they give you anesthesia. Talk to him a little bit, and if he comes across as a creep, ask for another one. In fact, I've done that before. I'm not going to go into details, but I've asked the doctor for a different anesthesiologist, and I was given one. So that's possible, but you have to speak up. Trust your anesthesiologist. Just exchange a few words with him. I mean, I know it sounds paranoid, but it's well worth it.
No, I think there's definitely something to it. And in fact, we know that anytime we choose to separate ourselves from our full awareness, that we're exposing ourselves to other realms that can come upon us, if you will.
Can come upon us.
I think it's a big deal. I think there's a lot more of it out there right now than we realize in our culture.
Afraid so.
That's something that I've been on for several months now, is that there's a lot more of that, a lot more people out there that are so detached, or they're using so many different substances that other things have come into our culture that weren't here even during the drug days of the 60s. I think there's more of it now.
Yeah.
Culturally.
Pharmaceuticals have the tendency to dissociate you, and people know that, you know. They say, well, the drug is helping me, the antidepressant is helping me, but I feel like I'm detached from my body all the time. My antidepressant taking aunt said that. And that's what happens. So you're detached, and while you're detached, something else can come in, which means you need to be grounded and feel your body via breathing, via grounding.
You mentioned a minute ago tracks that stop in the middle of the road. Did you come to any conclusions on these ones that are just unexplainably weird?
I came to a lot of conclusions in the book, but not on that one, because there's so many different possible explanations. It's people vanishing without a trace, could be teleportation, as you might have also guessed, folks, and it could be going through a portal into another dimension, into a parallel universe. It could be sinking underground, who knows? No, I've not.
You know that parallel universes obviously is a thing these days, especially among young women. There's this whole thing about reality shifting that is a big deal in the culture. Did this book bring that more alive and resurfaced because of so many of these explanations that are like maybe somebody entered another dimension?
Yes, because it's happening, and people want to know why. That's why it's a cultural thing. And if the science won't talk about it, and your church won't talk about it, and your government won't talk about it, then a culture arises where regular people talk about it. And it's always going to be that way. But we also want to look at why the authorities, so-called authorities, don't talk about it. Are they dumb or evil? That's always my question.
You have a website called falsehistory.net, and you've put a lot of material up on said website. And I'm narrating the latest book that came right after People Who Forgot Who They Are, Hidden Continents, looking into a lot of these masked kinds of things. I mean, people are keeping so many secrets in our culture right now.
Well, I'm making a lot of money off the fact that they're keeping secrets. If they won't talk about it, I will. That's basically my business model, talking about things that exist, that are there, that nobody talks about. Great business model.
Why are they hiding so much?
Fear.
Of what?
Well, they live a cozy life. They're in their comfort zone, and people don't like to get out of their comfort zone. They're afraid, because if this is true, it also means that more is true. And if you open one box, you open not just one box, you open many boxes. That's why currently I think certain boxes are being opened a little. Recently the UFO box was opened by the government, and they're trying to do it gently to get people out of their dull comfort zone. That they've been in a hypnosis. I believe, Thomas, we are in an age of mass hypnosis, feeling cozy and comfortable without looking at what's beyond, the unknown. And the bubbles become too small. We need to make it a little bigger, which is what expanding consciousness is all about.
All right, let's choose one of two things. Either we're going higher or lower, consciously, culturally. If we're going higher, where do you think we are on a 1 to 10 scale of that ascension? Or if consciousness is eroding right now, where do you think we are 1 to 10 on an erosion scale?
I think parts of mass consciousness are going down and parts are going up, and there's splits. I'd say 2. which is in levels of energy terms the 200s. And that's shockingly low, but that's my perspective based on what I know is possible. And just being here puts my own state down, frankly, and in the afterlife I'm not coming back. I'm not a fan.
Being here as in
On Earth.
on this
yeah.
on this planet for
Yeah.
this incarnation.
I'm not comfortable with your planet here. The service is no good.
You know, one of the most disappointing moments of my life was when I got online and found out that the wonderful line from Star Trek, "Beam me up, Scotty, there's no intelligent life here," was not a line.
Yeah,
It's like,
not a
no.
line. It was not a line. Yeah, I
It
don't.
needed to be.
I don't like your service here. Okay, I don't like the quality of your service. I'm leaving.
No check, please. Just keep it.
Yeah, no check, please. IRS, no check, please.
Yeah. Oh my. All right, so from the stories of people who forget where they are, disappear mid-tracks, etc., what do we take away from that? What do we do to live our lives better tomorrow?
Well, first of all, we take away many things. From that book, we take away that life is so much more mysterious than your comfort zone shows you. You're living an illusion. There's so much more going on, and it can be fun to actually expand into what else is possible. Time slips, time travel, levitation, and then the dark side, human trafficking, which is also a part of that book. We take away that we need to look after people better. We need to look after them, and we need to ask questions and have some, yeah.
Got a couple of good-looking dogs here. And they are loving that water.
We need to have critical thinking, which is very much lacking. Critical thinking, logic, reason, consciousness, awareness, love, and compassion. That's what we take away from it.
Hey, I wanted to ask you about another project. So we have People Who Forgot Who They Are done. That's out on all formats. Another one that I'm working on now is Hidden Continents, which is also interesting, and you bring up some behind the curtain stuff on that as well. But another one that you were involved with that I did the audiobook for, but for a different author. Fred didn't write this book, but he's helping the author who did. Kind of a give back. I mean, that's cool, you know. I've helped podcasters get podcasts started. You are helping this author get a book up and out. It's called Tartaria Lives. Now, first of all, Tartaria sounds like the stuff in between your teeth. What are we talking about, Tartaria?
Tartaria is the empire that existed on maps in the 1400s, 1500s, 1600s, 1700s, huge empire that spanned the entirety of what is today Ice, Siberia, Russia, China, parts of Europe, and as we've discovered, North America as well. In fact, the Native Americans are actually Tartarians, in my opinion. And then after the 1700s, after the revolution, so-called revolution, it disappeared from maps, disappeared from mentions, disappeared from books, disappeared. And then what we got instead was Hollywood, early Hollywood, painting a completely different picture of history, using a lot of fake Native Americans for it. I wrote something on that just the other day. That's Tartaria. And we want to know what Tartaria is, and we want to know why our history books were changed, were disappeared, and we want to know a lot of things. Tartaria researchers want to know why about 400 cities burned down in the 1800s, for example. We want to know why we can't replicate the architecture and technology of our ancestors, and why it's claimed that our ancestors were technologically inferior to us, which is just not true. These are some of the things I want to know, and then this author, Tartaria Lives, wants to know other things. You want to know the reason I wrote that book, Thomas? Or I published that book?
Why you helped him? Yeah, why?
Because I was following this account, Tartaria Lives, didn't know the guy, and I did not understand what he was talking about. He was all over the place, posts on this, then on this, and I just wanted to get to the bottom of just what does he want and what does he mean. I sense he's talking about something important, I just didn't understand it. So I thought, if I help him put his book out, once again, I'm going to understand it. I think that's the reason I write books. I want to understand something.
Okay. All right. This is the second half of the century Fred, then. Before you were... that's interesting. Okay, so look, because one of the things online, we'll get back to Tartaria in a second, because if you ever do an addendum to the people who forgot who they are, you could do continents who forgot who they are. because all you have to do is go find one of those old maps, and there it is.
That's another example of things just happening, and no teacher, no government is explaining to you what happened here. Where'd it go? Why am I not allowed to talk about this and this? It's just so odd. It's almost like there's some kind of grander psycho experiment going on here, and they're up in heaven waiting for us to figure it out. Like it's some kind of game where everything's covered up in secret, and they're praying, please be smart enough to figure it out. So here I am, I'm trying to figure it out, okay? I don't know if I'm smart enough, but at least I'm trying.
I think that's one of the differences in the 20 and 30 and even 40-something Fred and the now where you are in the second half of the century of our lives, is that before you were putting out that information that a lot of people are putting out today, they're putting it out, and these are smart people. I mean, they're doing a really good job of telling us how we can live better lives. But now you are truly getting under the skin of some of these different areas of the culture because you're asking questions instead of disseminating so much information. That's really interesting.
Yeah, it's going from having the answers to everything to knowing absolutely nothing, which is a more effective way of getting answers, by the way.
Yeah.
If you think you have all the answers, you're not going to learn much, are you?
No. So when you say then that we're at a 2 on this, like, the 200s energy scale, oh goodness, what's it going to take to move up?
You tell me, Thomas, for once. You tell me.
I have thought for a long time, and this goes back to my upbringing, that at some point we would hit some kind of a crescendo that is talked about in biblical prophecy, that would be Great Depression, World War II days on steroids, and that it would take a bringing us to our knees kind of thing to get people to finally look up. Right now there's still not enough. COVID didn't do it. COVID was a scab. COVID didn't do it, but I don't know. That to me seems like the only thing.
I would have thought that COVID awakens more people, but it did not. We're just, we went right back into following the propaganda. Whatever is popular on social media must be true. Whatever the media says must be true. We're right back at it. COVID was meant to awaken, and it awoke a few people, but not as much as higher ups would have expected, I assume. I was almost going to say, not as much as we expected. Who's we? As if I'm part of a committee, Not what we expected.
I didn't get the email, did you?
We do a lot of work, both you and me, and we're like, come on, let's go. It's like we're fighting against. It's like people desire to be asleep.
And yet, look at this. I mean, we're just two guys. We've got a camera over there. We've got a camera over there. We have this ability to sit on rocks down by the river and record stuff that's going to go out all over the world.
All over the world.
We have cool microphones, cool cameras, all this stuff. And the technological advancement of this age and this ability with everybody has a phone, everybody has a literally broadcast station in their pocket. And with that, everybody has an opinion, and everybody, as you said, they've all figured it all out already, so they're not asking questions. because they have all the answers. And if you don't agree with their answer, they get on social media and call you and me an idiot for asking questions. So, I mean, we got to pop this bubble somehow.
You know, in looking back into the 1800s, 1700s, people ask the same questions we do nowadays, even back then. So this has always existed. And it's kind of sad because you realize the question askers of older ages, did they really make a difference by asking questions? Maybe we're just doing it for our own development. And if others don't develop, too bad.
Maybe what people should do instead of asking questions
is have fun.
Buy orange Jeeps and tow them behind RVs. Go to cool places.
It's just
like this.
Have fun, yeah.
Have fun.
Never mind these questions. Enjoy yourself.
That's what I've adopted. You just hit a point, okay? That was one of the things that I have done here recently, just recently, is kind of thrown in the towel on trying to figure it all out.
Or trying to provide answers to anybody.
Let's go get in the orange Jeep and put the top down and go drive around downtown.
Have some fun.
Let's go have some fun.
Yeah. We're going to go have some fun.
Always great seeing you. It's been too long, but we've been in different coasts of the country. But thanks for the time.
All right.
What a beautiful setting.
Thank you.
Your backyard. Voila.
My backyard.
Waterfalls.